That's the thing I think that people sometimes overlook. If the single issues don't sell, I'm not ordering the trade. I don't assume that there's an untapped audience for this book. Not when we had it on the shelf for 4 months and no one bought it.
This goes out to the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Dal, as we are recording, what date is today?
Today is January 15th?
Friday, January 15th.
Yes, that sounds right. Never ask me that on my days off because I really have to think about it. I've got to do a little bit of math in my head.
I mean, I literally have to look at my watch to know the date.
I did not pick up my phone to find out what time what date it was.
Are you not wearing your watch?
No, it's my day off.
That's weird. You don't wear a watch on your day off.
Sometimes I do.
I don't need to know the time. It's fine.
Yeah, honestly, it's mostly like I'll wear a watch on my day off if I'm leaving the house for some reason. Not really. I mean, briefly gonna go get dinner after this, but I'm not really planning on doing much outside the house.
Where you
honestly,
need to know what time it is.
Much physical activity at all. Like, I don't need my watch getting on my case on my day off or sitting around too much.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
Anyway.
So a guy comes in.
January 15th, Friday.
He's looking around today, January 15th, which is a Friday.
Yep.
Friday part doesn't matter as much, but he was.
Well, January 15th,
and he's looking around. And after a few minutes, he seems confused, and he comes up, and it looked like he was looking for other people, not product.
Right.
But he wanted to know. And today was, let's face it, pretty dang slow.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday this week was pretty slow.
Yeah. Even Wednesday, comparatively.
It's January, though.
Yeah, and also nothing's coming out, really.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's a completely separate conversation, but in general, the last couple weeks have been pretty light on product. It's been DC Future State stuff, but that hasn't been as big for us as it has been for other stores.
So he comes up toward the counter, not to the counter, but towards it, and says, "Is that sale still going on?" And I said,
"Still going on?
What sale? The sale from the sign outside?" And I said, the sign that says February 7th through 13th?
In very big letters. Like, I think combined, the February and the 7th to the 13th are easily, collectively, over 2 feet tall. And about 4 or 5 feet wide.
If I may, it's about 1 foot tall and about 5 feet wide. Because it's not two layers.
It's not two lines?
It's one straight across.
Okay.
Because I went to double check
to measure it
immediately.
So you could do what
after.
I just did and try and throw it in people's faces.
So yeah, and he said, "Oh, I didn't see that part."
No one ever does. People see what they want to see.
Now,
you can make signs, but people read what they want to read.
We specifically didn't put the banners up or talk about it on Instagram until after the 13th of January, because very frequently when the sale signs go up in January, people just see the 7th through the 13th and assume it's right then.
Yeah.
And miss the February. This guy missed everything.
Like he missed everything except for the stuff that he thought would work in his favor.
Yeah. He was 2 dates beyond when the sale would have been.
Caught the discount.
Yep.
Caught the sale. Didn't catch the dates.
And then when I
glanced over those.
When I said, you mean the sign that says February 7th to the 13th? What did he do?
I don't know.
Turned and walked out.
Oof.
Yep. We had nothing for him.
Sure.
Full price? I don't think so. Man, I can't believe every year there's just that many people that only see what they want to see.
And that's the thing. Like, you obviously want to promote the sale, certainly to people who are not necessarily walking in the front door and we can hand them a flyer. We want it to be something where if you're passing by on the street on Western Avenue, you see, oh, the Challengers has a sale coming up, and maybe you stop in there during the sale. You don't want to advertise it too far in advance because, like you said, people are going to misconstrue it and they're going to think the sale's happening right now. But at the same time, like, if we advertised it February 6th, we'd have people coming and going, "There's a sale?" It's like, there's no getting around. Advertising it is going to cause a certain amount of people to jump to the conclusion that the sale is happening right now.
And even today, there was a club member who was basically confused by the lack of DC books in the weekly email, even though it has a bolded section that says DC books aren't in this.
Yeah.
And there's only so many times you can just cut it and paste it and say, as the email says.
Yeah. We've had that in the Friday emails for
months.
5-6 months?
Yeah.
And there was a point where I'm like, I don't need to keep this in there. It's been 5 or 6 months, and I don't expect there to be a point in the foreseeable future where the DC books are able to be included in the Friday emails. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think Diamond and Comic Suite have a way to make that happen. But I have to leave that in there because otherwise people are going to be like, wait, I thought I ordered Batman. And it's like, well, here's why it's not in here. Having more problems with people using Pullbox and ordering stuff that either doesn't get transmitted to us or just doesn't exist in the Pullbox database, so they can't add it, which is leading me to maybe consider the nuclear option, which is basically telling people, hi, please don't order stuff from DC through Pullbox anymore. Please let us know if you want that. It is getting to the point where it is unreliable.
I thought the nuclear... Why couldn't I say nuclear?
Nuclear.
I thought the nuclear option was going to be bigger than that, actually.
What's that?
We quit Pullbox.
I don't want to do that.
Right, I know. That's
way
why it's
too
the
valuable.
nuclear option. That is the...
that's more mutually assured destruction. Like, that's not,
That's what a nuclear option is.
No, nuclear option is we could tweak this, but instead we're just going to get rid of it. And I don't know if Pullbox as a whole is at that level. I think it's more just the DC portion of it is so unreliable and so problematic that it's maybe something where letting people do that part of it is like, I'm just going to decline every DC thing. You've got to tell me if you want something. You're not there yet.
Inching towards it. You have the codes.
Yeah, I will see.
In this scenario, are there 2 keys to open the switch? Like, do you not each have a key?
No, it's just it's the nuclear football. I open it up and flip a switch.
Can I do that too?
No.
Only you have this option?
Yes. As CTO, yes.
Wow, that's fair.
Not to throw that back in your face.
It is true. We had a discussion this week as to our official roles. When we first incorporated years ago, we had to pick president and secretary and treasurer and vice president. That's the other one. And quite frankly, our accountant picked for us.
Yeah, I absolutely did not care. Like, because we each own the same percentage of the business, so it's like, it's just honorary. It doesn't matter.
So I'm president, you're vice president, and then I can't remember who's secretary and who's treasurer, when in reality I'm both secretary and treasurer.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we were breaking down the actual corporate structure.
Yeah, if we were like a giant company that has like CEOs and CTOs and COOs and CFOs, like where would the work that we do, what would we then be eligible to be named?
So I am CEO and CFO. Mm-hmm. You're COO and CTO.
Yes.
And that fairly well breaks down our roles.
Yeah.
And you're also STFU. That's a wrestling maneuver, of course.
Sure, it's also an acronym that means something else.
What? I had no idea. I just everything of mine is in terms of wrestling and wrestling only. Before we go any further, I would like to congratulate Ryan and Lauren Voss on the birth of Reed Emmett Voss.
Interesting. Reed.
Yep.
Okay.
I think you can, and I'm guessing, but I'm guessing where that name comes from.
Sure.
I think you know it as well.
Yeah.
And it was suggested by a mutual acquaintance that we should already start Reed's Pullbox.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't Ryan who said it. It was someone else.
With what, Eternals?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I would assume...
Ryan didn't like Eternals.
Of course. It should be Last Ronin.
Sure.
Man, I gotta tell you, there's this guy who's been coming in lately who... He's like a speculator flipper, but he's always too late in the week for it. And
he's a lazy flipper. I think that's an interesting mindset.
Today, there was someone else who came in who has just started coming back, and you know exactly who I mean. Always gets a book because someone told him it was good. Mm-hmm. But that means he has to get all the covers.
Sure.
And I had just started restocking all the boxes. Mm-hmm. So I was out there with a large box of boxes, and they have to be taken out one at a time and set on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
So that led me to be right there for, is this good? Is this a miniseries? How much is this? Is this 3D? Just this barrage of covers. Questions, not covers.
Maybe
questions.
Covers too.
Well, the 3D cover, he wanted to know if a cover was 3D. And I just looked at him like, why would you ever think that it's 3D?
Yeah, do your eyes not... Can they only do two dimensions? Does the world look flat to you?
And then... The other guy came in and started talking, and he was talking to everybody, and I wanted to tell him to leave people alone, but the other people seemed into it.
Sure.
And then all of those three people, those three separate people, all bought 2 of every Future State thing we had.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
This week, last week.
We had that happen this past week on Wednesday, where we had people who were not only getting the new Future State stuff, but it also grabbed pretty much all of the previous week's stuff, which is only like 6 or 7 books, so it's not so much, but still.
Sure, it's just, why do you need 2?
Yeah. It's first issues and people
and
are
then
doing
it
weird
was,
stuff.
you can only, now what are your rules again? Because I did it wrong last time. It's just 2. You can just have 2.
Yeah.
And then I love the discussion of, but it's 2 total? Like, not 2 of each cover.
I think
2 total.
We've always been non-specific in the wording, because I think in general we would kind of play it by ear depending on what copies we had left. Like,
Yeah.
I was usually of the mind of, like, I mean, if we've got a bunch of, like, if someone wanted week of release 2 of each cover for, like, Post Americana, whatever that name of it is,
Yeah.
I would have been like, sure, fine. But when it's like, we only have like 2 of the B cover and 6 of the A cover, yeah, then it's like just 1 of each, like just 2 altogether. And I think that's where I'm landing more often now, is just a flat, no, just 2 copies.
And
Like, if there's
that's
10 covers, I don't know, man, pick 2.
That's my rule as I think it is written. And again, you can always make alterations to it. You can
Right.
make judgment calls, but it's easier when that is the stated rule and you're breaking it versus it needs to be interpreted.
Right.
And I don't get it. I don't get why you need 2 copies of anything.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But when they were all buying 2 copies of Green Lantern or Future State Green Lanterns, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Do you want, how many Justice Leagues do you want? Do you want
Yeah,
more?
not enough. Not enough. Man, that's a dog.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're out of pretty much all variant covers.
Oh, with Future State, we've been selling out of the B and C covers like day of release, because we didn't order a ton of those, and people really want. Like, we had someone call up looking for. Eventually, I got it out of him. He wanted Teen Titans Future State #1, the B cover, and only wanted the B cover. So the fact that we had like 10 copies of the A cover was like, didn't care.
Yeah, but how did they pitch it first?
Well, that's the thing. It was, Challengers, this is Dal. Hey, do you have that Titans? I'm sorry? Do you have that Teen Titans? I'm sorry, you're asking for the Future State Teen Titans #1 that came out this week? Yeah, you got that? Let me take a look. Go to the shelf. We do. We have copies of Teen Titans Future State #1. Oh, do you have the variant? No, we just have the regular cover. Oh, no variants, huh? Not for that one, no. Okay. Dejected, hangs up.
Now, the way I respond to those phone calls. Especially when I know what they want, but they won't say it.
Uh-huh.
I will make them go down that trail.
Sure. For me, it was a Wednesday, and I'm just like, I think I know. Genuinely, at first, I'm like, I don't know 100% what you're asking for. Because you picked, like, it was like the people who call up and say, yeah, do you have Ronin? Frank Miller's Ronin? Yeah, we definitely do. No, the Turtles Ronin. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin #1. Either yes or no at that point. But it was like, you picked one word out of a very long title, and it's not a word that is unique to that title.
It usually wasn't the.
Yeah,
Do you have the?
Yeah. Do you have #1? Help me out. Narrow it down. Got a lot of #1s.
You've gotten this before. I just got one today. Another phone call for ETBs.
Oh, God.
Do you have any ETBs?
Any ETBs?
Any ETBs.
Any ETBs?
Any at all.
Any ETBs?
Any ETBs. And I just went, no. Because it's not worth
an acronym that I never knew until a week ago, and now it's almost daily we get calls for people asking for Pokemon Elite Trainer boxes.
Yep.
Which are the thing that comes out for new Pokemon sets that are incredibly allocated and instantly sell out, which is why people are asking for them. And we don't. We don't.
Gina had a great call today. The guy's like, yeah, do you have X Factor #1? And she's like, oh, hold on, I think we do. Yeah, we sure do. Oh my God, great. Oh, wait, you're only open till 5, right? I'm sorry, you're only open till 5. Can I give you a list of books and then I can just run and pick them up? So I don't have to go look for them. She's like, sure. X Factor #1, great. And then it was like an Amazing Spider-Man that had 3 digits. And then an Avengers that had 3 digits. And that's when she said, wait a minute.
Which X Factor do you want?
Not the one.
Shocker.
Yeah, not the one that we had. Yeah, there was a lot of weird, like, you carry comics, but you don't carry these specific old comics type of things today.
Yeah, a lot of vintage stuff these days. I had a thing that's been happening more often recently, to the point where it is, from now on, every time someone asks, I'm just going to go, no, because what you're asking for is this. Whenever someone comes in and goes, yeah, do you have any Dragon Ball Z stuff? And I'll go, well, we've got Dragon Ball Super. What's that? Oh, it's the new graphic novel series? Immediately it's pause, beat, frown. Oh, wait, no, I mean toys. No, we don't have any Dragon Ball Z toys. But this weird thing of, like, when you say Dragon Ball Z, you of course only mean toys.
Because that's how it exists. That's its
toys.
Original and purest form.
And look, Dragon Ball Z toys are incredibly popular. There's a lot of stuff that Bandai produces for the Japanese market. The only line besides Gundam that gets brought over here 100% is Dragon Ball Z. So I get it. I get that that's popular, but, like, it's not just a toy. And the fact that, again, people are giving me, like, the generic part of their request, not the specific part of their request.
And this is a thing that I'll never be able to get people to do, but I want people to ask for the specific thing. Sure. Like, if they were to call, and I would answer, and they would say, do you have X Factor #1 from, the late 80s, or the Walt Simonson version, or some descriptor?
Yeah,
especially when there has been numerous volumes of X Factor over the years. Don't be, and I've talked about this before, don't say, yeah, do you sell comics? Yeah. Do you sell Marvel comics? Mm-hmm. Do you sell Jack Kirby comics? Yeah. Do you, and like just each step closer to saying, right, do you have Avengers #4? Mm-hmm. Just say that. Yep. Just say that.
And also say Avengers #4 from the 1960s.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to be like, we've got a lot of issues from that series. Oh, you don't mean the Jason Aaron one.
What about the Mark Waid, Mike Del Mundo one? Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Oh, that was all new Avengers. So
might have that for
$1.99. That would be different. We had our first person say, oh, Back Issues are $1.99 and leave today.
Okay.
Yeah, but honestly, it was someone I didn't recognize.
First time they've gone up in price in 10 years.
And he kind of mumbled it to Gina, and I didn't even hear what you said. Mm-hmm. A weird mix of people, and it was the usual either packed or completely empty.
Sure.
Plenty of times I was getting nervous with A, the number of people, and B, the way they were interacting, and it's a lot of, keep checking the security camera.
Yeah, and we've said it before, like, with a very low cap on how many people we will allow into the store, when a family of like 4 or 5 comes in, it's like, okay, now we're getting close to capacity.
Yeah, we're half capacity right now. It's something to always keep monitored. Like I said last time, Gina's real good at that. Someone will come in and she'll just like say, all right, we're at 7. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, 7 what? It's only 3 o'clock. We're not even open till 7 on Fridays, Gina. Jeez.
Come on.
Oh my goodness. We need to, and this is a collective we, both you and I, need to change any links that we have on the website and in the emails and other things for our Instagram page.
Oh, right.
Because we have changed our Instagram name.
Okay.
When we first started with Instagram, and we're one of those corporations that have a different name on every social media platform because of the way it rolled out. We're Challengers Comics on Facebook. We are now on Twitter just Challengers, but
Challengers.
We had to get them to change that for us.
Yeah.
Legally get them to change it for us, which they did after a couple years of not being that.
Right.
On YouTube, we are Challengers, letter R, Go, because that's what we were first on Twitter and just Twitter.
Right.
And then Twitter, after a while, we changed it to, we had an in-store contest to change it, and we became Go Challengers Go. Uh-huh. And then that's what we made our Instagram name because we were trying to
keep
link
them,
it.
Yeah, keep them standardized across all the formats.
And at the time, we couldn't have Challengers Comics because Instagram names couldn't be that long.
Right. Then
they were able to be that long, but somebody took Challengers Comics and cloned our account.
Really?
Like they stole one of our images and our bio.
Okay.
But didn't, like, the pictures weren't the same.
So it's just one picture of ours they stole? Like,
That-
what
I
is
mean-
on their account?
Well, this was back in the past.
Oh, okay.
So it was just like whatever our avatar picture was,
Okay.
that's what theirs was as well. And they kept our bio,
Weird.
but they never posted anything. And Instagram is real weird with that kind of stuff. When you say, "Hey, this is a fake account," they don't really do anything about it. Like they just say, "Hey, you can block them."
Not my concern.
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, but like they didn't steal our name because we never had that name."
Right.
But before I knew we could get it, somebody else took it.
Right.
So that account still exists, and it's still somebody else. They've never posted. They've changed the photo to like two dudes on like lawn chairs, but it's still our old bio.
Weird.
Yeah, and they're Challengers Comics,
That sucks.
which is super annoying.
Yeah. I don't love that.
So, like, 'cause we could have been like Challengers Com X, but I don't want to do that kind of stuff. So
no.
we would go Challengers Go. Well, now I just like last week bothered to look into it and found out that they've expanded the your name count to a really weird number, a long number.
Okay.
So we are officially on Instagram, Challengers Comics Conversation.
Okay.
We couldn't be because there's not enough letters. But even so, Challengers Comics Conversation is an extremely long name.
It really is.
And we were actually watching Wrestling Kingdom with our good friend Mike Lee, and I had pitched it to both of you saying, what do you think of this name? Is it too long? And you both said, no, it's fine. No one's ever going to type it out.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was that the people who are following us don't need to learn a new name because the account name will just switch over. And for most stuff, it's like auto-completing. So even just typing in Challengers would probably bring us up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah.
But the links don't work anymore.
Okay.
And even I noticed in David Harper's links, he had the link to that. I'm like, oh, that doesn't work anymore.
Unprofessional.
Well, he didn't know that we changed.
No,
and I didn't.
we're unprofessional.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, this we changed, and who knows? Maybe we'll change again. Maybe they'll make us
Who
put
knows?
and conversation,
Maybe.
or maybe we can get Challengers Comics back,
That'd be cool.
or not back, but get it. I have tried to get the authenticated check mark on Instagram,
Yeah.
and 2 different times I've given them all the documentation, and they keep refusing it. But I mean, it is a legal corporation entity name,
Sure.
so I've sent them all that paperwork, but I don't know why they don't say why. They just say, no, you can try again in a few
Not
months.
sexy enough.
Probably.
All right, fine.
The name or the store?
The account, I guess.
I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near sexy enough like
It's true.
Ty Conte's Instagram account.
I'm trying, but
For
I
sure.
mean, I'm actually not trying.
You're not, because I kicked you off.
I'm really not trying.
I made you put all your robot posts elsewhere, or your motorcycle men.
I posted so many attractive Asian men on our Instagram, and it was not sufficient
Just
to
not
secure
enough.
that blue check mark.
Not
I
enough.
They were very handsome boys, and it just, couldn't crack that glass ceiling.
I'm best boy, and
I'm BT boy.
I'm BT boy.
John Silver.
So it's a very long name, and I was telling you how our top 9 of 2020 played out for the most liked Instagram posts, and how several we talked about this on the podcast. Several of them were from Blue, blah blah blah. And there's a specific like number that that was the lowest number of likes that made it into the top 9, and how our New Year's Eve post after I'd already done the top 9 squeaked right up to where it would have been in the top 9. But so far for this year, the post, not the sale information, not the cute Anissa Espinoza artwork. There's already been a post that is well into, I think, what'll be in our top 9 this year. And it is just the announcement of the new Instagram name.
Crazy.
It is mainly text with just the Challenger C, and that one has
What was
many likes and comments.
The announcement is the new Challenger's Instagram name, which is what? Reed Emmett Conversation? Is that how it goes?
Something like that, yeah.
Announcements for names are a big deal. Sometimes they get on podcasts even.
Sometimes. It's rare, though. Speaking of births, and today is my sister Karen's birthday.
Happy
And
birthday, Karen.
Corner Store and Beach Ball Comics owner Thomas Gall.
Happy birthday, Thomas.
I will tell him you said so. Well, I mean, you just said so now, so he probably heard you or felt it or his ears were.
I guess. I don't know how sound works.
And other people. I can't remember if there was someone else from today. Don't remember whose birthday it was. But I'm sure a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday. Not you.
Yeah, it's not my birthday for sure.
People
I know that
listening.
much.
I don't know that I still haven't looked through previews yet for this month.
Okay.
Which is bad because I have to start doing the orders next Thursday.
Yeah.
But I learned a thing today that I didn't know or I forgot.
Uh-huh.
And I'm also super surprised you didn't tell me.
Okay.
Or you probably did and I forgot.
A lot of options.
Tom Taylor's writing a Batman book.
Was it the Dark Knight book?
Yeah.
That is in the next catalog, and it literally got announced today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, because we got an email from...
The DC catalog for April
came out today?
dropped today.
Oh.
So I think yesterday or today they announced that he's doing a Batman Goes to Europe 6-issue miniseries called The Dark Knight.
Okay, boo, it's only 6 issues.
Yeah.
Next you're going to tell me that it was digital first, and this is just its printing.
I'm not, but I'm going to mention that the artist is Andy Kubert.
Yeah, I know. I saw
You
that.
don't love Andy
I know.
Kubert.
Why would I?
Why would you?
I don't even love Adam Kubert.
Yeah, the new title announcements. There's some stuff that's digital first that's finding its print editions coming out in April, which is the John Ridley Next Batman series. That's a prequel to Future State, so I guess set in current continuity.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay. What?
The Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries comic.
Is that
cartoon stuff?
Okay.
And then some new actual print edition comics that are brand new. One is the 6-issue Batman Dark Knight series by Tom Taylor and Andy Kubert. The other is a Robin ongoing series.
Yeah, I saw that announcement earlier this week, or I guess yesterday.
And then the...
I don't like that costume, but I'm interested in that book.
I think that costume's okay, and I like that artist all right. Yeah, we'll see. And then the third is a Green Lantern series written by the guy who wrote Future State. Green Lantern.
I thought we already knew that, because we got an
Maybe
email
we
from
did, I
DC
don't
today
remember.
that was, hey, you can get special covers for Green Lanterns and
Robin
and
Dark
the
Knight.
Dark Knight. and I thought the other two I already knew about, but Dark Knight we did. So I didn't really miss out.
No.
I'm excited for a Tom Taylor Batman book. I'm sad it's only 6 issues.
Sure.
I'm sad that the art is not up to my standards.
Sorry.
Who did I can't remember his Spider-Man book. What was his Spider-Man book?
Tom Taylor's was it Friendly Neighborhood?
Wasn't that? Oh, right, because I kept saying, no, that's Chip Zdarsky. No, it was Friendly Neighborhood.
It was Spectacular. And that was Friendly
yeah.
Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Juan Cabal, I think, to start.
Yeah.
And then it was like Ken Lashley for some of it, and I can't remember who the third artist was.
Man. Tom Taylor and Batman. That's what I've always wanted.
Yeah, well, this is a start.
That is what I have always wanted. You know what else I always wanted was Kaiju Max, because it's so good.
It's so good.
Man, they wrapped up...
Golly, season 5, so
Season
good.
5. Issue 6, Season 5. Amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best single issues of a comic. I mean, it just tied everything together.
Yeah, it felt like... I mean, it's like those kind of like final scenes of like The Godfather, where it's just like everything is kind of happening at once and all this stuff is overlapping, and you just feel like, oh, it all came together. And
you didn't know... It wasn't like, how's this going to come together? Never even thought it was going to come together.
Yeah. Like,
didn't expect it to.
I said this to you after I read it. It's amazing because there's a bunch of different plot lines that are running through season 5 of Kaiju Max, and they sort of feel like they exist in the same world, but thematically they don't feel like they're all doing the same things. And then you get to issue 6, and it's like, oh, this is all one theme. This is all one story, and kind of how he brings all those things into one alignment is kind of amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff in there that I did not feel like it was going to hit as hard as it was. Like, all the stuff with the Warden I genuinely could not have predicted that being such a massive emotional part of issue 6. Like, it doesn't come out of nowhere because a lot of that character is sort of there if you're looking for it, but the way that it just, yeah, oh man, real good. And the thing about Kaiju Max that's always so amazing is so relevant to what's going on in the world right now.
Yep.
Like, it is not just some goofy book where like, oh, we're doing like giant monsters in prison. It's like, no, Kaiju Max is a way for Xander Cannon to hit on a lot of relevant social issues.
The thing about Kaiju Max that kills me is the people that read it love it.
Sure.
Will fight for that book.
Oh, man.
But there's so few of those people.
I guess. Those graphic novels sell pretty well for us, so we are still able to put Volume 1 into people's hands and then have them come back and go, I need 2, 3, and 4. Like a lot of books that people are discovering in that format, we don't get that crossover to people going, oh, I want to get the single issues now so I don't miss out. Like, the people who finished Volume 4, they're not coming to us saying, like, put Volume 5 on my list for single issues so I can catch up. They're just like, I'll just get the collection when it comes out.
Yeah.
Our club numbers on Kaiju Max do not fluctuate, nor do our shelf copies sold for single issues.
No.
They're pretty rock solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess is sort of good. I mean, considering that you're basically talking about what's now issue 30 of an ongoing series, and a smaller publisher ongoing series, so for it to be consistently selling that many copies for issue 30 is insane. I mean, how many of those books even make it to issue 30?
No, that's fair. It's just that, obviously, it's a book that...
I wish it were doing better.
And it's not just you and me. Mm-hmm. It's Gina, and it is Kent. It is other challengers, but also it's other people all around the world.
Sure. There was a point where we were getting in the first of the Kaiju Max... what are the Colossal Editions called? Is it Colossal Edition?
Monstrous Edition?
I have it over here. The Kaiju Max... I
think it's Monstrous Edition.
They just say deluxe hardcover. Anyway, it's
and those are great.
These are great, but when we got the first volume in, I remember looking at the pulls list and seeing a bunch of people down for it. I'm like, this is great. It was all people who work for Challengers. Yeah. Like literally everyone who worked at Challengers was like, I need a copy of that hardcover, which was fun to see everybody at the company being like, oh, I am in love with this book as much as everyone else is. But there's this thing of like, I thought we were going to sell some of these to people who pay money for them.
We just sold them for Ryan Brown's brother for Christmas.
That's true.
That's a thing.
I think we're out of stock on it right now because I have not reordered it. Because it's just... I love them, but they're not an easy sell. I think they're a sort of thing that's like an upgrade, and not everybody feels like they want to upgrade their Kaiju Max stuff like you and I do. I think there's a ton of value in them, though, with all the bonus stuff and the oversized...
So much bonus stuff.
And the annotations and all of it. Oof, so good. Anyway.
I had, a week ago, not even a week ago, last Saturday, recorded my yearly check-in with David Harper, which honestly I couldn't figure out why it felt like we had just done it, but we had did the my 30th anniversary interview as an audio format that he had transcribed.
Sure. And you and I had just done the Challengers year and wrap up like the day before.
Literally the day before, yeah. And... David, we recorded it Saturday. He had put it out on, literally on Sunday. It was up for patrons and whatnot. But we talked about Kaiju Max, and Kaiju Max is his favorite book as well.
Rightly so.
And then we were texting back and forth with the new issue because obviously I got to read it before he did.
Sure.
And then we each sent each other the exact same scene.
Sure.
And then he was able to get Xander to come back on off panel. He recorded that today.
Oh, neat.
And Xander's like, yeah, what should I do for this character? And David sent that question to me, and I said, I thought that character story was done. And David said, I did too.
Ooh.
So
tantalizing.
Yeah. I guess there's more to tell. I mean, obviously there's, each season of Kaiju Max was telling a story, but also furthering a story, except for, was it 3 or 4 was the women's prison?
4.
That was a complete... done by that story's done. Those characters are done.
It was, but even that was largely following what had happened in previous volumes.
Yeah. But my point is those characters will not be coming back.
Okay.
But now that's what season 6 is. It's got to wrap up everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's the end.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Until the movie.
And
I remember in a movie. That's the rule.
That's the rule.
That's what pop culture demands now.
I remember seeing someone had done an Electrogore statue that Oni had at shows. I'm like, oh my god, I'd buy one of those. But it was just one.
Yeah, someone just came up with it.
Yeah,
I wish they would do either more plushes or something. Obviously, a Daniel would be pretty great.
Sure,
but I mean, there's a bunch of characters from Kaiju Max that you could. An Electrogore, a plush Electrogore would be the weirdest thing. Sorry, a plush. God, who am I thinking of?
It'd be so weird that it exists. That's a weird.
Mechagon.
Oh, sure.
Is that right?
Yeah. What up, Megafauna?
Yeah, I mean, all those characters are designed for merchandising.
Man, just a line of vinyl toys. How great would that be?
Sure, any of it. And
I can tell you that Kent has been trying for years to get that off the ground.
I'm sure.
So good. What happened in your comic book week, Dal?
What happened on comic book week? I don't know. I don't know if that's an open-ended question or you're leading me for something.
Nope. Not leading anywhere.
I read some previews today.
Yeah.
I read some last week, but I've already more or less forgotten them. Today I read Shadecraft, the new Image series that's coming out from the team behind Skyward.
Uh-huh.
I did not like it at all.
Okay. You weren't a big Skyward fan.
No, but I thought the premise of Skyward was good.
I liked Skyward a lot.
This takes a while to get going, and by the midway point, you're like, I know what the last page of this book is, and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I found it uninvolving and predictable. Didn't really do anything for me. Conversely, I read Orcs, the new Boom, kind of all-ages-y fantasy adventure thing, which I thought was incredibly charming and very fun. I don't know that we're going to be able to do great with it, because every time we stock something like that and try to push it, it just bounces off of people. But it was a book that I found really fun, and I wouldn't mind probably stocking up on.
Okay.
Last week, what did I read? Carmen? That
Guillaume March book, the Image book.
Yeah, since it had already been released in France, I guess, or some European publisher, Image had sent us what amounted to the first 2 European graphic novels. I read the first one, tons of nudity. One of the main characters is naked pretty much the entire book. Not a
Carmen, you say?
Not a quality judgment, just noting that, like, wow, there is fully constantly naked. I thought the art was pretty charming, and I thought the story is dark, but is kind of not. It's not exploitative in its darkness. It's got kind of this is maybe a bad description. It's like a dark whimsy to it. But I thought it was a lot better than I thought the book was going to be. Guillaume March is a cover artist that's pretty divisive as far as the way people take his female character designs.
Isn't he drawing the Joker book as well?
He's doing the covers, I think. Maybe he's doing the interior art. Yeah, maybe he's. It's not a book I'm going to read, so I don't care. But the Carmen book was pretty good. It's definitely worth taking a look at for people who are reading stuff like Faithless. Yeah, I thought for an art-driven book, it was pretty solid. I got
what genre would you call it?
Oh, fantasy.
Okay.
But kind of like a real-world magical realism kind of fantasy. I don't really want to say too much about it because I don't want to give any of it away. It's definitely a fun journey to go on with the main character.
Is there someone named Carmen?
There is. She's on the cover even.
Oh.
I thought it was another Image book from the new catalog that I read because they gave us previews for, and I don't remember what it was even.
I keep meaning to read those Radiant Black previews, or we got Space Bastards 2 today.
Yeah, I don't think I need to read that one early.
Yeah.
I usually just want to read previews of books that we haven't ordered yet to see if we need to order more of them.
Because we have Space Bastards at the pick of the week, several people asked about it, and I'm like, oh, it's so much fun. It's stupid, over the top, ridiculous violence. It could be a Garth Ennis book.
Oh, yeah.
It's really great. No one bought it. I did have someone say, I'll wait for the trade.
I don't know if we're going to stock the trade. That's the thing I think that people sometimes overlook, or we've mentioned it on the podcast, I'm sure, a number of times. If the single issues don't sell, I'm not ordering the trade. I don't assume that there's an untapped audience for this book. Not when we had it on the shelf for 4 months and no one bought it.
Yeah, definitely not.
Plus,
we rarely stock Humanoids trades.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not
not a given.
Open and shut case. Like, oh, it's Humanoids? No. But for the most part, I mean, we tried when they relaunched with Mark Waid in charge of their content.
He's still their editor-in-chief.
We tried everything. When I say everything, I mean all their properties. Not like, we tried everything to sell it.
Right.
We care, and they didn't land.
No, people didn't care. It's a hard thing that I've had to try and get across to some reps who are like, how do I, make sure that the issue 2 sales are as good as issue 1, or how do I boost up sales on later issues? And it's like, man, you can't. Like, all you can do is try and get stores to buy in heavy on issue 1, and then kind of hope the audience shows up for it. Like, maybe stores will push it, maybe they won't. You can do all the social media blitzes you want for issue 1, but past that, market's kind of decided. Like, I know that sucks to hear. Like, that's not great for any publisher to be like, if it didn't sell by issue 1, you're kind of boned. Like, but you kind of are. Like, the market will have moved on, and there's always going to be a drop between 1 and 2s because the market is so speculator driven now.
Yep.
There's going to be a ton of people that are going to pick up issue 1 that have no interest in 2 because 2s aren't going to be as valuable.
two different customers today were doing things on camera that I'm like, what are they doing? So I zoom into it.
Mm-hmm.
They were checking
Every
Key
single
Collector
copy.
based off of what we had on the New This Week shelf. They're
Sure.
going through everything.
Yeah. Still got copies of Solid Blood if people want it.
Yeah.
We've sold a few more since the initial week of release on Solid Blood, and almost every time we sell it, 2 copies. Which at this point, if
All
someone
right.
wanted to buy all of them, I'd be like, fine, I don't care.
Sure.
It had its moment.
Very brief moment.
It did, yeah. Hopefully it'll be something that amounts to something at some point. As it is, it's just this weird curiosity that no one seems to have enough interest in to speculate on.
Yeah. I had yet to have somebody bring it up cold and say, what is this?
Yeah. Some people did the week of release. There were a couple of people who were like, what is the Solid Blood? And I'd have to explain kind of the story behind it, because the story of it is, I mean, the comic itself it's whatever. But the curiosity factor is kind of all there is to it, and it didn't make people that curious because they didn't have enough to go on. Like, there wasn't enough indication that this was something that was tied into crossover, let's say, or that was setting up some other book, let's say. Like, it's this thing that where even the pitch was like, I don't know why this exists, and it's like, that's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, if that was a different creator giving that kind of a pitch, it might mean more. You know, if this was a Brian K. Vaughan, like, hey, I don't know what this weird thing is. I never did this.
Even then, like, the book itself doesn't mean anything. Like, Solid Blood is like almost a parody title. And
Yeah.
all of the content is very, like, them channeling terrible mid-90s Image comics. So, like, the audience was substantially larger than, like, Copra, so that's cool. But, like, that market is not huge. It's not a lot of people.
This week, I got the first issue of the new Terry Moore series, Serial.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big Terry Moore fan. I've read everything he's done, except for the standalone graphic novel Ever, just because I haven't gotten to it, but it is definitely in my to-read pile.
Cool.
So I read Serial, and it features Zoe, who was a demon but inhabiting a 10-year-old girl's body. So she's been 10 for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a sadistic, joy-filled killer.
Okay.
She became one of the good guys and was in... She's first started in Rachel Rising, but the entire Terry Moore universe is one set thing.
Sure.
So then she started guesting in other books.
Mhm.
Now she has her own book.
Okay.
And it's the first Terry Moore #1 I've read that I just went, oh.
Uh-oh.
However, at the end of it, I had a lot of questions,
Okay.
and I desperately wanted more. I'm like, I need more of this. What else is happening?
Wow.
But I feel like the first issue wasted a lot of time
Sure.
on things, and there was an elaborate...
First issues are tough, man.
Yeah,
They are
well,
tough.
like, the cover is a great cover. It's a little girl with a giant knife and a whole bunch of possibly dead horror characters around here. You know, like a Freddy, a Jason, a clown.
Sure.
You know, just generic horror movie cast just scattered around her. And that kind of happens in the first issue, but not really.
Yeah.
But basically, she's not in it for the majority of the book.
Okay.
I also noticed that it is 20 pages.
It's not a lot.
No, and it's one thing when Marvel and then DC switched to 20 pages, but for an independent creator who's doing this on their own, why would you make that choice to drop 2 pages and keep the same price?
Yeah.
I don't have any behind the scene knowledge. I don't know paper costs or printing issues. I know, especially now during a pandemic, there's a lot of problems people have with getting things out on time.
Sure.
Last Ronin #2 is pushed back again.
Was it really?
Well, now it's like Valentine's Day.
Oh, great. All right.
Yeah, it's like middle of February now.
Okay.
So
I think we just FOC'd it like last week.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll get to FOC it again.
yeah, it was originally due. I mean, originally. Let's never mind.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Fine, but I just grew up in a world where there were 25 or 5 cent, and then 25-cent increments in prices. And then once we hit $2.99, it was immediately $3.99, and now
Yeah.
$4.99 and higher.
Yeah.
And that was one of the problems for Space Bastards. It's $6.
I don't know if that's a deal breaker. I mean, maybe you heard differently from people, but I haven't found people to be that price sensitive lately.
Yeah.
As far as books they're picking up.
I think they don't notice.
I mean, people picking up 2 copies of an $8 Batman book, you know?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Jeez. What about, people are buying all those variant covers? Those are all $1 more.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Nope.
But anyway, I'm immediately like, God, I want more of the story.
That's good.
But it just took too long to get to that point for me. But it's Terry Moore, so I'll keep going.
Yeah, sure. You read this many comics.
Sure, but like he has me.
Uh-huh.
I wonder how that comic would work for somebody who hadn't read Terry Moore stuff before and just picked it up.
Sure. Well, isn't this one a shorter series?
I honestly don't know anymore.
I thought it was like 4 or 5 issues. I
Really?
could be wrong on that. I could be
Okay.
completely wrong on that.
I never know. Like when Strangers in Paradise 25 ended at 10, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's only 10 issues? Yeah, I'm not paying attention. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense because there's clearly a story that's being told.
Yeah.
We'll get around to it, I guess. We mentioned before how slow Thursday and Friday were this week.
Mm-hmm.
Even Wednesday was down a little bit.
Yep.
It's weird to be doing these year-end recap type of interviews, and I just turned another one in last night, also for David Harper, but a print version.
Sure.
And to be looking at how it is now, and this whole pandemic, I've been waiting for sales to stop,
Sure.
thinking that it can't keep going. But when you have a pattern or a rhythm going, and you think, oh, it's not like it'll go this way until people can spend their money elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now as people are getting another government check,
Right.
another stimulus check coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had people immediately come to use it, which is great for us
Yeah, I hope it's
And for
okay for
them.
them. I hope it's okay
and for them, for all the entertainment they get.
Uh-huh.
But then you get a week like this where it's like, on the one hand, it's real slow. On the other hand, nothing came out, and even our reorders are slower.
Yeah, it's. I would be hesitant to look at this week as any sort of like bellwether. Like it's. There were so many. Like, if anything, we probably did better this week than we probably should have. Like,
Sure.
the number that we did on Wednesday was down from the past few Wednesdays, but it's like still like double what we would have done a year ago.
On
a Wednesday.
Not double, but more.
I mean, we
50% more.
we definitely had Wednesdays that were half that size in 2020.
I don't know
in the
about
early
that.
part. Oh man, I remember working some by myself and being like,
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't work those.
yeah. So this is not unheard of, and
They were definitely all better than
Yeah.
where I was.
multiple times what we were doing on a Wednesday in River North.
Can I just tell you how excited I am looking forward to doing the January paperwork, knowing that I don't have to split it up in 3 ways anymore?
No, you don't.
I mean,
store.
I'm very excited for that
One
because
single store.
now I think it'll be not fun, but so much easier.
Less of a hassle.
So much easier. Only one screen open.
Yay!
Oh, man. Gotta tell you. I'm almost looking forward to it.
Yay!
Not entirely, though,
Ooh.
because it's still, paperwork and not necessarily fun.
Sure.
I don't think we're going to have anything extra to say about WandaVision, but I've heard from several people that have watched it already,
Oh yeah.
and everyone loves it, like expected. They're expected
Yeah,
to.
I would have been shocked at this point if Marvel Studios had totally dropped the ball.
I was just curious if you saw any reviews.
I have.
You wouldn't have read them, of
Yeah,
course.
I
but
specifically have not been seeking any reviews. The
Okay, I
headlines I've seen that come up in my news feed are largely, positive and excited about how many different types of stories Marvel Studios can tell now that they've got this TV format. But yeah, I've shied away from anything that would give me specific reviews of the 2 episodes they released.
I do love that the internet went crazy yesterday with Chris Evans is in negotiations to come back as Captain America in some sort of supporting role or something. I'm sure you saw all those.
Yeah, the thing was like in the same way that Tony Stark was in Spider-Man: Homecoming and Civil War.
Yeah, but those were great.
They were, I think the reports wanted to make it clear, like when they say supporting role, they don't mean, in the same way that Chris Evans was in Thor Dark World for like one
sure.
shot. Like,
Yeah.
no, he will be a major part of somebody else's story.
Sure. But did you see today?
No.
Chris Evans had a response to it.
Yeah.
He tweeted the article with news to me.
Those people always say that,
I know.
though.
They have to.
Is Tatiana Maslany She-Hulk or not? Because, like, it was all... people reporting it like, yes, it is locked in. This is as good as a Marvel Studios announcement. And then she's in some other interview and she's like, I don't know anything about this. And it's like, look, you're saying that because they want to do an announcement and they haven't done it yet. So everything's like, I don't know. The Oscar Isaacs thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's been saying Oscar Isaacs is Moon Knight for like a month. And then this week it's finally like, Oscar Isaacs is Moon Knight. Which even then, I don't know if that's the official announcement or not.
It's not, but they've been hiring other people.
Right.
And the
Once you
speculation
start
is
hiring
they
people
wouldn't
to
hire
work on
other
the
people
show,
if they didn't have...
you don't hire the star of the show last. That's not how these things work.
a real fun...
So yeah, Chris Evans, yeah, okay, fine, sure.
A real fun Taskmaster segue, because they're doing the podcast from the very beginning now of the first episodes.
Okay.
And Alex Horn was talking about, because he's the creator, even though he's just the assistant on the TV show.
Okay.
He was talking about how the linchpin was comedian Frank Skinner.
Okay.
And it was the thing where they had the concept and they pitched it and they were given the go-ahead, but they had to find the right cast.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to have the Taskmaster and the contestants. And like Frank Skinner, who was an older but well-known comedy figure in the UK, he was only going to do it if Greg Davies was the Taskmaster. Greg was only going to be the Taskmaster if Frank Skinner was going to be in the show, because that would give it some gravitas.
Okay.
So like the other people, it's like basically if Frank said no, show wouldn't exist.
Sure.
But it's like, well, I wouldn't do it unless they do it. Well, I wouldn't do it unless they do it. Okay, but I won't do it unless you know. So it's this
Sure.
big like. Most people don't know how hard behind the scenes it was just to get everyone to fall into place. And once Frank said yes and Greg said yes, everything else just bam, we'll do it.
Sure.
But a little, just like you hear that often with actors doing the, who's in this?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the first one to sign.
Sure. That makes sense.
Oh, sure, I can do this Batman Dark Knight series, but who's drawing it?
Mm-hmm.
Someone I don't like very much as an artist. There's, gosh, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's early in the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
January 15th, I heard.
it's a Friday, I think, too, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody had asked me what the sleeper hit of the year is going to be, and I said, I have no idea. It's early January.
Yeah, if you could predict it, it's not a sleeper hit.
What's the sleeper hit that the sleeper that can't miss series from this year? Like, no idea.
Yeah.
Then they followed up with, what are you most looking forward to? And I ignored it.
Sure. I mean, you haven't even read the catalog for stuff that's coming out in March yet.
Yeah.
So you are the last person to tell somebody what books that are coming out in 2021 that you're excited about.
I also hate the level of customer email that always leads to another question. Like, there's some people who are so ambiguous with how they email, you have to say, like, oh, like today someone said, can you add that new Batman? Mm-hmm. What new Batman?
Which new Batman? So many Batman comic books.
They meant the next Batman, but they were already down for it,
Right.
but they didn't know that because they didn't read the bold part of the email. And then each answer, they had another question and another question. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't want to do this all day.
I had someone on Tuesday night who responded to the Tuesday received email with wanting to be added to Future State. And I had to say, okay, which Future States? Like this, there's like 30-something titles. There's 7 like this week alone. Like, which ones did you want to be down for? Haven't responded yet, so haven't pulled anything yet.
Yeah, that's fair. You know it's going to be all of them and the ones that I missed from 2 weeks ago.
At which point, yeah, we'll
Too
see
bad.
what we can do. You might get some second prints in there.
All right, here is. I'm glad we went down that path because it reminded me of something I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And there seems to be a lot more shipping damages in the comic book industry, regardless of where your books come from.
Okay.
Penguin Random House,
Diamond.
Ingram, Diamond, Lunar. You know, these things happen.
Sure.
This last week, Future State Robin Eternal had a tear on the cover on virtually everybody's copies.
Yeah, and not just the Challengers, like worldwide.
That's what I meant by
Like
everybody's. Yeah.
the print run had a slight tear in the bottom right-hand corner of the cover.
Many stores reported it, and the distributor had said, "No, we're not taking those back."
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, knowing that was already a response people got, and knowing that it was every single copy of ours, we just said, "Fine, that's how this book is."
Yeah, just put it on the shelf. It's not like you can get a mint copy anywhere. Everyone's are the same way.
Yeah.
Like, this is a mint copy of this book because they all have the same damage.
So we're being a little more lenient with what we report as damaged, knowing that the time frame for replacements is elongated.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a good chance we don't get it. We got...
And on top of that, like, there's also the knowledge that, okay, if we have 20 copies of a book that we received and we need 15 for subscribers, if 10 of them are damaged, it's like, okay, cool. So 5 people just aren't going to get the book for 2 or 3 weeks, if at all.
If at all.
Like, it's not like we can just say, okay, well, the shelf copies we're not going to put out because those are damaged. Like, no, this is into subscriber copies, and then we have to decide how this works.
But even restock books and things like that, we got a diamond order that came in today, right at the end of the day, too, so that was a nice kick in the pants. And it was 3 different titles, 1 hardcover, 1 softcover, and a stack of single issues.
Okay.
Both graphic novels were messed up.
Great.
But it's like, man, fine. We'll put them out. Hopefully they straighten out on the shelf.
Sure.
Or it's not like we're accepting a lesser quality of shipping because that's the world we're in now, because the warehouses are still short-staffed, you know?
Yeah.
They still have to maintain social distancing. The post office is still boned with things. We got
And
2 Christmas cards back in the mail today that were mailed out on December 4th.
And today's what? January 15th? Is
Yeah,
that right?
that's what I've heard.
Wow.
And one of them because the person moved and I didn't know that. And the other one was, no, that's my address.
The expression that gets used is don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Okay.
And that's what that usually means is, like, if you need the copies, for our example, if you need the copies on the shelf to be perfect, that also means you're not going to have them for a while. So wouldn't you rather be okay with slightly damaged copies that you have in stock and can sell than not having them for weeks at a time because they're not pristine? And it's like, for us, we've decided, you know, good enough is good enough.
Yeah, and it's a matter of, do you want the book or not?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, there have been times that we've said, oh, man, this single comic that came in on a reorder just, you know, it's not in the best shape. It's got some creases on the spine or whatever. You know, we'll set it aside for the subscriber because they asked for it, and we'll let them decide whether or not, you know, do they want to read it bad enough to buy it now? And frequently we'll say, hey, you know, there's a replacement copy coming in, so, you know, when that comes in, you can just switch out your other copy. 9 times out of 10, people are like, don't bother, I don't care. Like, they're not buying it because they are desperate to flip it online. They're buying because they want to read it. And so if, you know, a very fine copy is completely acceptable. You can totally read it.
And how many times has that replacement copy come in damaged, the same or even worse?
And that's what we've had to tell people a few times when, you know, they reorder a single issue that we get for them and it comes through damaged and like, you know, can you get a better copy? And the answer is, I cannot guarantee you that reordering is going to get you a better copy. Like, it is going to get packed the same way. It's going to come from the exact same warehouse. It's probably going to show up in the same condition. Like, this is just what we can offer.
One of my books last week had like an ink, not smear, but like an ink stain all on the left-hand page. Like there
was something on the roll?
Yeah.
On the paper roll?
On that. And it wasn't in any others. It was like just luckily mine. And it wasn't a solid. It was just like a yellow filter over that page, but only in like a bizarre shape.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, this is a printing error. I don't care. I can still read it.
Yeah.
I know what the page. I know what it said. It got the point across. I don't care enough. You know, it's just
Sure.
But I think my point is, we as a store and you as a customer have to be willing to accept books that are not in the best shape because that's the world we live in.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, there's a lot of collectors out there who want, you know, pristine copies and stuff. I don't want to turn away any customers. It's not where I want to be as a person trying to make a living. But there is a sense of, like, I don't know. Like, I just, this is the year where I feel like I'm going to have to be more okay with telling people no. Like, can you get a better copy of this? No. Are these your best copies? Yeah, and they're good enough for me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is something that's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. People, because it's, you know, again, a largely collector-driven market right now, speculator-driven as well, you have people who are like, it has to be a 9.8 book. Like, I'm not going to buy a single comic that wouldn't slab out at least a 9.6. And it's like, those books are rare. Like, on a 10-point scale, that's the very slim band of comics that you're going to accept. Comics are not made to be in that condition. They're not produced in a way where they can retain that level of quality. Like, they're designed for cheap consumer entertainment. I mean, I know $4 and $5 is more than people are used to paying, but it's still substantially less than, you know, a paperback book or a hardcover book or a Blu-ray or whatever, like, or video game. These things are not meant to be pristine quality. Like, they don't get packed up in boxes at the warehouse like that.
You know, Dal, when Sammy Hagar released his first ever album back in the late 70s, it was called 9 out of 10 scale. Not 9.8 out of 10 scale.
No.
9 out of 10 scale.
Yeah. So yeah, the kind of...
Also, you do not love that tag team.
I love that name for that tag team.
Yeah, but you don't love Jake Hager.
I love those guys. Those are good guys. Jake Hager's won me over in his AEW performances.
Okay.
I think he's a guy that I probably would not have cared less about in the WWE, but I like how he's utilized in AEW.
Still your least favorite of all the Inner Circle.
Incorrect.
It's not Wardlow, is it?
It might be Wardlow.
Oh.
I mean, tied for last, I would say, for those guys.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And I think Hager gets to be a little funnier than Wardlow gets to be. Wardlow will sometimes get a good, like, expression in at the end of the row.
Yeah.
But Hager gets to be, like, actually tell some funny jokes sometimes by his weirdo persona. His enthusiasm, if you will. Getting back to the condition of books, though. Yeah, the kind of obsession with it has to be perfect quality is, as always, it's a thing where the important part is the story inside. Why do we care so much about how, like, anytime we're selling something on eBay and someone's like, can you send me a picture of the back of the book? I don't even respond to those questions.
Fair.
I'm not doing that. If you don't want to buy it because of that, I am okay with that. I can almost guarantee that if you buy it, it's going to be a hassle for me.
I feel like we need to have JVO do a new intro for us that is like, hey, this is Contest Challengers, a comics industry business podcast in Chicago. We hate speculators.
Yeah.
Like, just something like that.
Not even hate, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to understand it. And yet I'm constantly bombarded by it.
Just so we don't ever have to talk about it on the podcast again, because I guarantee you people are sick of hearing it.
I mean, welcome to my life. I'm sick of living it.
Yeah.
Like, this is not just... This isn't me complaining because it rained last week or something. This is a constant presence in my life that is like a boot pressing down on my neck. Like, it never goes away, and it's always exhibiting itself in some new, fascinating, frustrating way. So, yeah, I'm going to keep bringing it up. I'm going to bring it up forever until the industry changes. If you want me to stop talking about it, change the industry.
Speaking of Sammy Hagar, he has a signature pizza over at Peace right now.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of pizza it is?
I don't remember everything, but it's a charity pizza.
55 different kinds of cheese?
Monies go to the rock venues in Chicago.
Oh, that's great. Save Our Stages.
I don't know. I think it's a specific charity like
Is
that,
it?
but not
Okay.
that one. It is. It's a red pizza, of course. It's a red rocker.
Uh-huh. Is it doused in tequila?
No, but it's got like.
It probably pairs well with tequila.
Let me put it this way.
Uh-huh.
I will not be ordering it
Okay.
because it's Italian sausage.
Okay.
My least favorite meat for a pizza.
Wow, okay.
And then like caramelized
That's
onions
so weird.
that were.
You like pepperoni, though.
I love pepperoni.
Italian sausage is just too far away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Onions that are caramelized in a piece made beer
Okay.
and like mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I mean, part of me is like, I should get it just cause. Like, no, I don't want that.
No. Just make a donation to his charity if you want to
there
do
you
that.
go. There you go.
Save yourself the heartburn.
So good for him.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be abrupt. I got nothing else. Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.